Welcome. What would be the manner of your resurrection? If you are cremated, would you become an ancestor? Let's discuss the topic to be resurrected without Easter Sunday. It, meaning cremation, used to be kind of taboo, but it's become popular. It takes up less space, and you are dead anyway. So what's the difference? This was said by Bob Young. The preference in most African cultures is earth burial. Many melanin-dominant Africans who still follow their cultures believe that when people die, they go into the Netherworlds to meet with their ancestors. Therefore, the body of the deceased should be respected so that they arrive there as a whole. We want to look at this factor from the issue of Easter Sunday resurrection. The resurrection of Jesus didn't happen. Almost all claims that focus on his resurrection are faith-based. Why or how? Because we look at the tomb, the empty tomb, and they say, today we have not found even one burial or grave or bones of a biblical character. We are aware and agree that the reason why we can't find them is that they never existed. And that the religion that we see today is Judaism, Islam, and Christianity. Simply put, Serapis or Zapurus, later morphed up to be Jesus, was an invented god. He was a composite of several Kemetic and Hellenistic deities who was introduced to the world at the beginning of the Ptolemaic Greek period in ancient Kemet during the reign of Ptolemy I, though his legacy was later revivified by the Romans and today by Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. The fact about all this is the issue of Easter. That's the proof that Jesus never existed. Because in 325 AD, the Council of Nicaea in Turkey had to standardize the way to set the date of Easter. The council established that Easter would now fall on the first Sunday following the Paschal Full Moon service, the Passover, the Jewish Passover that began or was started to be counted after the 21st of March, the Vernal or Spring Equinox, thereby creating a uniform observance of this date across all the Western world, including Christianity. This was man-made. There was no divine inspiration about all that, including the crucifixion, the death and the resurrection of the character called Jesus Christ, Serapis. The resurrection of Jesus is a fallacy, and it is the popular model dominating melanin-dominant human beings today. Since it was stolen from Kemet, we need evidence to show that it was and is an invented concept, mimicking African traditional ancestral resurrection and burial models. Only the gods Isisu and Ausari are worshipped in the same manner by all Kemeticians. How? Because their manner of resurrection and the process of resurrection mimics and is mirrored in every melanin-dominant culture. Give an example here. The death of the Zulu king, when he was being buried, they said he is planted, not buried. Go to read this article by Pumza Fihlani. They said he would be joining his ancestors in a very dynamic resurrection. What is the process? Death without dying is the process. Number one, in the pyramid text, we read that the king Hunas never died. Hunas did not die. He departed alive. Hunas certainly died. That's what we know. But in our traditions, his death was but a transition to a new life. Thou sleepest, thou awakest. Thou diest, thou livest. This is the idea that lies behind the statement Atum or Atema, meaning Bantus. The son of yours is here. Ausari. He lives, and this Unas lives. He did not die, and this Unas did not die. Number 2. The comparison is made between the dead king and Ausari. Ausari was killed and rose to new life in a resurrection. So the dead king, as long as he is identified with Ausari or an ancestor, connected with ancestorhood, through the recitation of the spell, he is made alive again. So, number 3, what we learn from here is that it is the physical body, flesh, blood, and bones, that must be resurrected. And after such corporeal resurrection, that same body is transformed into a bar via the aku. Therefore, the proper burial on top of Maatic life is key to your resurrection. There is no other way around it if you are a melanin dominant human being. Exactly what we have said here. The proper burial on top of a Maatic life is your key to eternal life. Now, the Ba and the Aku, therefore, are not your already formed soul and spirit. They are merely a potential in your body that will eventually be transformed during a righteous life in this physical body to be finally finished off in the tomb and eventually be resurrected from the tomb. If you therefore cremate the body, you destroy the same tools that must be reassembled in the tomb to become you in the afterlife. This is part of Bantu mysteries. Proper burial and the rituals are key to your resurrection. This is a fact. So the shape-shifting that we are dealing with here of your body in the tomb comes after rituals and the words uttered during your burial as a force that play a massive role in your transfiguration and the shape-shifting of your body. In these African rituals, your Ba, which is you, is not part of you, but it is you. Your Ba, which is your outer ego, so to speak, is not your soul, but it is you. Therefore, the identity of your corpse is just as alive and active as the Ba in the tomb, in the grave. Because the shadow that we spoke of, that is spoken by, or that is spoken to by the elders, is the Ka in transition. The text repeatedly promises that the deceased will have power over his entire body, especially over his legs, in order that he may achieve fullness of movement and life. Not only the body, but also the Ba and cognate entities, Ka, Ak, and Shadow, are endowed with physical vitality. Thou, talking to Anubisa, hast thou caused my Ba, my shadow, and my form to go with their feet to the place wherein that man is. Coffin text, verse 242 to 243. The word Ba that you find in our name of Bantu is often translated as soul. It's a general translation, yes. But as a rule, it did not come into existence, this soul. It comes only after your death. You are never born with character, which is connected to Bantu or Unu or Ubuntu. You are born with a potential, a varying potential, like a seed that is thrown into the earth, just like a sperm thrown into the earth of your mother to create you. That's a potential of a person. And the Ba is designed to make men into a resurrecting potential Ba. Will you make it into resurrection? Let us graphically share a summary of what we have said here. This is how to be resurrected without Easter. The deceased is here, but the deceased was in this world. He came via the family ancestry. And as he was living on the earth, he was a follower of Ausari. And lived Mahati. And then he dies. He should have the Aki, which is the potential to become a divinity or a transfigured Ak, who is an ancestor, a revered ancestor. No general ancestors become divinized, but revered ancestors become divinized. So you may be calling for help from ancestors that are still dead, that are awaiting a revivification. that are awaiting a resurrection, that have not been into the judgment hall. So you're wasting your time again. These are the followers of Ausari living on the earth. And this is how you are born, with all the potential that you have and how you live. And this is in the world where you come. And when you die, you come and you are judged. You ascend to the 42 gods that judge you. Again, the same principle is shown here in the judgment hall, well after you had lived a life of Mahati. We read from the book by T.D.K. Kilimanjaro, Guiding Principles of Moral Living, Mahati. He says, judge deeds, reward merit, and award those who are deserving. Have courage, have a heart, face fears, prepare for difficulties, and take life seriously. Commit to a purpose, have a heart, integrity, and perseverance. Maintain the highest standards. He goes on to explain and lecture, which I'll give. A lot of people wanted to know how to get these books. We'll give a link in the description where you can get. So let's look at the car, because we've looked at the bar and we've looked at the burial. Let's look at the car in terms of resurrection. The car is your image or a reflection of how you are living and of how you are observing everything and all your likeness, which includes the ancestors in you. Be it your reflection, you look in the mirror, your profile in artwork, statues, painting, or anything, photographs or footage or video footage of you, that's you, or family members or ancestors, that's you. That's your shadow. Shai, that's you. So during the creation process, we borrow tissue from our mother's body. That means that your matter or material is all maternal. And your father is one who gave you the pattern that makes you. So when you touch your skin, you are touching your car. You are touching your ancestry. You are touching your grandmother, grandfather. You are literally touching the original ancestor that gave you birth. That's how you came into the world. That's how the car operates. So the keti is your body before death. Your cat is your body after death. Your sa is your body after mummification or proper burial. The ark is your body after resurrection and subsequently transfiguration into a divine state. You cannot achieve it automatically. So the key takeaways come from the book of Coming Forth by Day, which is a very important religious text for us. Its main goal is to give us the formula to reanimate the corpse for continued existence in the next world via the grave. It also contains living formulas usable during a lifetime in preparation unto death. It was actually called the Book of Coming Forth by Day, Parutema Hore, because it was intended to enable the deceased or living to get up again and resume activities. Aside from general hymns, specific spells described in words to be spoken over the mummy or the corpse during burial or time of burial, our ancestors were actual resurrectionists. It was important that the body was intact, clean, ready, and put into the grave. There was no cremation, no tricks. Anyone who plays tricks around that was playing with fire and would be playing with fire and would forfeit their future. This includes witches and tricksters and magicians. They are losing their resurrection. So here is the resurrection process now. We want to show a process that is very critical in all this is the opening of the mouth ceremony. The opening of the mouth ceremony is a ritual that was used in many ancient African traditions in different ways. It makes it possible for the body to be given a message and encouragement to be able to live again and continue their journey to the ancestors. Belief in divine recompense after death necessitated resurrection-based burials so as to afford the return of the body to life. That's why this process of opening of the mouth was very, very critical. That's why food was put, words were spoken, because our ancestors believed that the self could not exist in any real sense apart from the body that they were putting into the grave. That was the body, that was the vehicle to take the next step for the next life. Hence the allusion that we have given concerning the Zulu king, that he was not buried but planted. Very powerful statement you can find anywhere today in terms of this philosophy of resurrection, which is based on our ancestral model, not Easter Sunday. It's your choice. This technical sequence we are showing here, the process of embalming or burial, the purification of the corpse, and the removing of anything that is dangling and clothing the person, and putting oil on them, and then the procession to the tomb, and the opening of the mouth ceremony at the burial. So when they do the opening of the mouth ceremony, that's where Christians take you to Jesus, who never lived, who is a Greek. So your soul and your potential goes to the Greeks, to the Europeans, to the Muslims, to the Jews, to the Christians, to anyone who finalizes your journey. That's why I said to my son and my daughters, when I die and when I'm being buried and during my funeral, I don't want to hear any Christian song, Jewish song, Muslim song, no Bibles, no Quran, no Torah, nothing except the book of Coming Forth by Day and one of the books that I shall produce very shortly. That will be buried with me and all the other tools that I have allocated. So this is the technical process, the 7-step technical process that we alluded to previously in many of our videos. So burial is a process. These are deliberate physical activities intended to empower the resurrection of the corpse once it is alone after burial. The dead must be capable of their own resurrection, which thus takes place within that tomb here and on the earth. If successful, it will be followed by a magically empowered departure of the same body from its tomb here on earth where it resurrected, to ultimately ascend into the ancestral realm, to pass over into the netherworld as a new body, like a plant growing from a planted seed. The follow-up rituals will be the invitation of the deceased back into the family as a guiding force. We call mudzimu, a very powerful word. Mudzi means the root. Mu means the up or resurrection. Dzimu means the rise, up, or extinguish. Dzi means stand up strong. So who is being referred to here? It is the bar, the you, the car, the you, and the ark, the you. Are you sure you are ready to be resurrected without Easter Sunday, which will take you to another realm, not your original realm? If yes, no problem. If you would like personal counsel about how to walk in your natural melanin dominant cultural and spiritual congruency and connect with others who are practicing this powerful ancient philosophy, email us on join@marifado.com. Subscribe to our channel, Kamiti Hebrew Ethics. For more information, email us on join@marifado.com. Till we meet again, your Hamaneja Topi, Tumizulu Kunkeni Mjaganja.